everybody. In today's video, we're going to be burying our gutter pipe here below the stone here on the garden railroad, so we don't have to have this big 3-inch pipe carrying the water from the corner of the family room here, where our garden railroad wraps around, all the way out away from the foundation. So this is what we have right now. This is a 3-inch PVC pipe here that connects to the downspout on the corner. And because our yard is very flat, we don't have a lot of slope for drainage. So what we do is we have this pipe carrying the water over the garden railroad and then just down here on the grass. And it does kind of two things. It keeps the water from the downspout away from the foundation, which is the most important thing. But it also carries the water over the garden railroad, so it doesn't splash down into the, onto the track and all that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that big 3-inch pipe there, and we're going to put it under the stone. And then what we're going to do is just let the water from the downspout just kind of disperse under the stone and under the garden railroad, so that it at least accommodates or accomplishes the taking the water away from the foundation, like I said, which is the most important thing. And then it kind of removes this, what I think I consider a little bit of an eyesore here on the garden railroad. So what we're going to do is, our plan is to take that the pipe off the downspout, and then what we'll do is we'll bury this kind of this foundation drain here. This is kind of a French drain system, I think, from Home Depot. So we're going to bury that just at the level of the stone in the corner, and we'll let the rainwater just fall into that. And then we'll use this 4-inch pipe here with a 3-inch reducer there on the end, and we'll just reuse that 3-inch pipe there and run that just under the stone, just to where it kind of ends now, and we'll just let it drain under the stone. So hopefully that'll take care of our downspout problem and remove this eyesore at the same time. So let's get to dismantling everything that we need to dismantle so that we can start digging and burying the pipe. Before we put the track back in place, what we'll do is we'll take a wire brush and we'll just clean off those ends that we disconnected. We let the track out, all winter long, and although we clean the rails, we only clean the connectors if we happen to take the track apart. So this is more just precautionary than anything else, just to freshen up those surfaces before we put the track back together. Okay guys, so coincidentally we've got a rainy day here and we can test our theory out as far as whether that rain is going to fall directly into the drain from that downspout and still allow us to make that corner with that piece of track. And yeah, I'm just not 100% satisfied with how that's falling in. I think even though most of the rain is falling in, I think when it was raining harder, we could see splashes coming out to the side and it wasn't going in the drain. So what we're going to do here is I think we're going to just extend the drain spout from here. We'll remove this little piece here and just put a new piece on and extend it right into the drain. And then what we'll do is we'll alter the track a little bit so that it's not so tight to that corner, and just work our way around that. I think it's only a matter of putting in a little bit of a straight piece in one of these joints here and then pushing that corner out by a few inches, and I think that'll do it for us. Okay, so there's the finished fix right there. We just extended that drain pipe right down into the drain so that no water splashes around the foundation or anything. Our theory about it just dropping straight into the drain from a foot or two above just wasn't really going to work out, I guess. So anyway, so you can see there that corner of the track, because of the drain pipe there, is quite tight. I don't think trains are going to make it around there, but what we'll end up doing is just putting in a piece of straight track in one of those joints right there, like I mentioned earlier. That should push it away from the foundation just enough where the trains can make the corner. So yeah, so we'll catch up when that's all done and show you the finished product and hopefully a train in operation rounding that corner without any danger of hitting the downspout there. So add a little piece of 6-inch track that you might be able to see the newer track, piece of track right there. We just wanted to push the whole curve out a little further away from the corner just to make sure that our longest pieces of rolling stock can round that corner without difficulty. So with the train coming here, you'll see that second to the last car. That is probably one of our longest cars, that Boston and Maine, making the corner now. That makes the corner quite comfortably. So yeah, so we're pretty happy with that. So some other things that we've done in our June, July work here on the railroad is we added a couple of buildings. So we added this Dan's Burgers. This is a Pico kit, and it's kind of sitting by its lonesome there in that little space between those two little bushes there. But what we intend to do here is make a little zoo display here. So we've got some animals and things like that. We just have to come up with a way to make some kind of makeshift animal pens that look kind of zoo-like. And I'm kind of thinking of making some walls using some concrete and just using some dimensional lumber as forms and just kind of fabricating some walls there for the zoo pens. And then we've also got a bunch of people that we have to add bases to, and those will be our zoo goers. So those are all ready to go. We just have to kind of get busy on the zoo, and that'll probably be an August project. The other building we added is the Pico Bijou Theater. And you can see that we put that right on the end of our little street here. Both of those kits were pretty easy, pretty fun to make. And in addition to the buildings and the drain pipe work, we also moved some plants around. So these plants here were sitting over by the village street there, and they were sitting in between some of the buildings. We planted those last year. We weren't really happy with them, the style of plant that was sitting in between those buildings. So we moved those over here, at least as many as we could move. They're pretty delicate plants, and there were 3 of them, and we basically were able to salvage about, I don't know, 1.5 of those 3. But we got them planted over there, and they seem to be thriving pretty good. The other plants we planted, right here, we redid this corner here. See if I can zoom out a bit here. This was all ground cover. And what we did was we had our yard landscaped and reseeded last year. And what happened is a lot of grass got in here from the seeding. You know, when they spread the seed with the seeder or with the spreader, a lot of seed kind of got in here. You can see it right here on the inside of the stone there. I have some Roundup I'm going to use to take that grass out, but this was just overwhelmed with grass, and rather than kind of weed it out, we just basically dug up the whole corner. We replanted this ground cover, which is what was there, but it was all intertwined with grass and all that, so we really had to pull it out, kind of pull the plant away from the soil and the grass and all that stuff, and kind of replant it here. And then we put in 2 flowering plants right in between those pieces of ground cover. So ground cover, a couple of flowering plants, and more ground cover. So that kind of neatened that corner up, I think, a bit. This is a new plant here. We also have one of those in the far corner, and we kind of like the look of this plant. This is a really nice looking plant, so we like that. We're going to keep that there. Now with this pipe gone, we'll probably fill this in with, you know, something else, whether it's buildings or more plantings or whatever. We'll have some work to do there. The other plant work we did was we had some other plants that got eaten by deer, and we replaced those with these flowering plants. We're into July now, so the flowering plants aren't really flowering very nicely right now, but in the springtime they really looked great. And then we've got these plants here. These are the ones that we replaced, those ones I showed you in the far corner. This is what we replaced them with, and they've actually grown quite a bit this spring here. And these are all perennials, so they'll die off at the end of the year in the wintertime, so we won't have to worry about the deer eating them, and they'll spring right back in the spring. Like these plants here we planted a couple years ago. You know, they've been here for 1 full season, and these died out last winter, and they came back really strong this year. So yeah, so new plant between the depot and the water tower, new plant between the Grizzly Flat Station and the Bear Inn, and then a third one there between the town hall and the post office. And then finally we added this little plant on the end here, fills in that space nice. That's right beside that purple flowering plant. And then these flowering plants we added to the corner. This plant here was already there, and then this we added, and the same thing on this side. This is that other plant that matches the plant on the far side we were just looking at a few minutes ago, and then that flowering plant. Yeah. So that's the update for June and July. We've gotten a few things done that we've been meaning to get done. Again, for August, I think what we're going to do there again is construct that zoo. That's going to be a little bit of a project. And we'll just continue to keep things neat and make little improvements. And like I said before, we've accumulated a bunch of G-scale figures for various things along the way, and we're going to be putting those into epoxy bases so that they'll stand up on their own out here. So we do have a video on epoxy bases that you can look at, and we'll probably film the project coming up with the epoxy bases, even though we have one out there. If we're doing something, we'll usually just film it and you know, make a video out of it just in case people find it useful. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, that's it for June, July update, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video.